every 3 hours, someone in Canada dies from radon gas exposure with lung cancer. Because isn't it something like one of every 3 houses possibly have radon in Saskatchewan?
It's considered the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers.
In non-smokers,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so smoking by far is still number one. But long-term radon exposure, I mean, don't kid yourself, it's a killer.
Well, here's a shocking reality. Every 3 hours, someone in Canada dies from radon gas exposure with lung cancer. Here in Saskatchewan, we have some of the highest radon gases in the world. I'm joined here with Todd. Todd Despins is with Ventpro Mechanical, and I had him on to share some insights on what does this look like for Saskatchewan, what does this look like for our clients that are living in homes and so forth. And can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into, I guess, the radon gas resolution, I guess that would be.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me here for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
How did I get into it? Well, so I mean, I'm an HVAC contractor to begin with. And years ago, one of my clients mentioned to me that, have you ever heard of radon gas before in passing? We fixed lots of things around there. And at the time, he asked if I ever heard of radon before, and I didn't. So did some quick research on it. And I think a few weeks later, I ended up getting certified for it. And from there, came back to Saskatoon. And, right when I got back to Saskatoon, that was January 2020, right when COVID basically hit. And so once I kind of got certified, my phone went ballistic because now people are at home in their basements a lot more. Everyone's working from home, so indoor air quality became a major thing for everybody. And plus also there's some work that the Lung Association had been doing before I got into it that I wasn't aware of at the time, but they had been building the educational aspect of it for years prior to me coming in, obviously. And
right.
So I ended up just kind of jumping in at the right time, and we definitely took off running with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've recently seen Carrie Tucker, her sharing some insight on radon gas and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because when I first got into real estate, a lot of our home inspectors say we don't have radon gas in Saskatchewan. Yeah. And through learning a little bit about it, I was like, you know what? I should probably test this house. I mean, I actually live in my grandparents' old house. I bought it off my grandma, and so I didn't really think anything of it. And then I put this from the Lung Association. It's about $75 or $80, a little test. Mm-hmm. It's 3 months, 90 days, and you put it in, and then you get the test back. And it tells you what you need to do depending on where you read.
That's right.
And mine came back at 200.
200, yeah.
So all of a sudden now I'm looking at things and being like, okay, what do I do? So for those that are hearing about radon gas for the first time, because I mean, I didn't know about it that long ago, what exactly is radon and why is it so rampant in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, well, what is radon gas? So radon gas is, it's basically a decay product of uranium. And so what happens is, radon, it comes from the ground, obviously, in the soil. And just in Saskatchewan, we just naturally have high uranium content kind of everywhere in our soil. And then compound that by the fact that our houses are built, we have a basement in our homes. And because our homes are in a sealed envelope, windows are shut, doors are shut, especially 8 months of the year in Canada during winter time, the house is closed up, right? And because we're in that sealed envelope and because of the thermostatic effect of hot air rising, that effect creates a suction on the lower levels of your home and pulls soil gases in. Think thermostatic effect, think like how those old metal chimneys used to work. You could pull that end cap off the metal chimney and hold your hand there. You could feel air being sucked in.
Right.
That's the same thing our houses do in the winter time. And so that's why soil gases are being pulled in. And the reason it's dangerous for us, I kind of want to get into the science of it real quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, go for it.
The reason it's dangerous, like you're inhaling radon gas right now. But the reason it's dangerous.
Thanks, Gary Nickel, to have radon gas in your garage.
It's everywhere.
I think we need to put a fan in here.
You can't get away from it. But what you can do is limit your exposure is the big thing. So the reason radon's dangerous for us is because, and I sent you that video of a cloud chamber.
Right.
What happens when radon decays, and its half-life is really, really short. So only 3.5 days from the time that radon molecule leaves its position in the earth, it gets sucked into our homes, and within 3.5 days, it's going to decay. And when it decays, it ejects out an alpha particle at half the speed of light. And an alpha particle on the cellular level has a lot of mass to it. So if you're unlucky enough to inhale radon when it decays, it ejects that particle out into the cells of your lungs. And then best case, when it hits those cells, best case is the cell dies. Worst case is the cell lives, mutates, and that's how we get lung cancer from it. If that makes sense to you.
Wild.
Yeah. Look at that cloud chamber. Like that,
it is
that
for sure. So it is the highest, I guess, other than the highest reason other than smoking where people get lung cancer. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it is. It's considered the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers.
In non-smokers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So smoking by far is still number one, but long-term radon exposure, I mean, don't kid yourself. It's a killer. It really is.
Why do you think that we haven't, because this is some question that I've asked myself repeatedly being in real estate, and when people have asked me, to be honest, because somebody told me something, I told them, and it feels like I've lied to people. It's like when I started learning about how in Europe, anybody under 100 or over 100 would have to get a fan in and take care of the radon and so forth to pump it out of your house. In the States, it's 150, anything over. And usually the States, I mean, they approve everything in our foods that's toxic and the rest of it.
Why are we 200?
And why are we 200? And why am I only learning about this at the age of 44 years old? 45 now, just turned. Why am I learning about it just now after I've been in the real estate industry 20 years? And why is it that that's not something we talk about repeatedly? Because isn't it something like one of every 3 houses possibly have radon in Saskatoon?
You know, those numbers are tough to say. You just don't know. We do have high levels in Saskatchewan. Right. So a couple questions there. Why does the government say at 200 you should do something about it where everyone else is lower?
Yeah.
We are definitely in talks with Health Canada about that. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with Health Canada again about it. Not about it, so it'll be on the topic. It'll come up again. They do not want to budge from that number.
Right.
I mean, personally speaking, it's probably because if they do issue that lower warning, instead of being a third or a quarter of the houses in the province have high levels, that number is going to go up even more now.
Right.
Right. So,
to give a little bit of context into it, got it tested, found Todd, had a couple people in, liked the way that Todd explained everything and how everything was done, felt like it was properly going to solve the issue. I thought it was going to be a disaster and there'd be basically dust and everything all over our house.
Coring holes in the basement.
So we're coring a hole in the basement, and then they're also, so I have a finished basement, so now they're coring holes through a finished wall to the outside and so forth to vent this out, right? So I'm thinking, I mean, I've worked in real estate for a long trade, understand trades and the rest of it, and usually people leave houses way dirtier than when they got there, and I thought it was going to be like a disaster. But either way, wanted to solve this because we're at 200, and at the same time, I mean, it's been like that way forever, and don't realize that getting new windows, getting all those other factors make even more of an issue within this older home, right? Because I'm in a house that's 1956. So had these guys come in, they then started doing all the work. I'll give you can you give me a little bit of a breakdown on like what you do maybe and how that works? Because since you've done it, I've went from 200, which that was anywhere from 22 to about 53. So I've now put that tester in to see what the actual number is for 90 days. But I mean, it's dropped it a lot.
Yeah, it should. I mean, when we mitigate a home, we want to see levels below 100.
Right.
That's kind of the pass mark. Typically, we see well below that. But in your case, again, what we're doing is we're just trying to counter that thermal stack effect that that our houses naturally do. So sub-slab depressurization system is the system that we install. It is kind of the gold standard for mitigation. There are different types of systems. Putting suction on the weeping tile is one. Putting suction on a sub-membrane in a crawl space, that sort of thing, is another one. But the sub-slab depressurization is kind of the tested and proven system that works the best. And basically the idea with that is, put suction onto the slab with a properly sized fan, because picking that fan size is really important, because this fan runs forever. The thing never ever shuts off, right? So we're very conscious of not putting in larger fans than we need, because we don't want the energy burden to fall on the homeowner for this extra power consumption on these fans. Plus, the bigger they are, the louder they are. And there's nothing worse than trying to fall asleep with a humming in your house forever, right? So putting that small fan in is key. Lots of times we don't get a choice with the larger fans, but we're pretty good at it these days, where I don't remember the last time we put a large fan in the last few years.
So you're coring this hole, and what machine is it that creates no dust? And I mean,
well, we have a vacuum,
Yeah.
dust collection vacuum. We had a head, different attachments for it that fit the coring bit, just to make sure that, like, we're there to improve air quality. So throwing dust around kind of goes against that whole process.
Right. So basically, I took everything out of my utility room. I covered all my furniture in the basement,
thinking we were coming into the hailstorm,
with blankets, being like, this is going to be a gong show. And when I came home, it actually smelled cleaner than when I left, which was very weird. But at the same time, like, everything was very well taken care of. But looking into it, the way that they tested it was they cored the hole, they put then what on top of it, and then drilled another hole on the other side?
Because the idea is, if I put suction on this side of your home on the slab, I need to prove that I'm communicating with that suction pit on the other side of your slab. So we do have to drill one, possibly two little test holes, and then we have an instrument that can measure that pressure difference. So as we crank our fan, we should see a pressure drop over there.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
We brought you down and showed you.
Yeah, I've got videos of it.
Yeah, we try it. If the homeowners are home, I love showing them the
explaining it and the rest of it. I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It felt like I was like kind of that,
learning
like,
something.
that really bad client that's hovering around, just like wanting to know and make sure that you're doing it right.
We'd prefer show them so that they kind of see.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, sometimes we have to drill that 1/4-inch hole, and there's not really a great spot for it, especially in 100% finished basements. We've really got to try and hide it. So that's when we kind of like bringing the homeowner down to show why we're doing this, why we're taking that measurement.
Yeah, but you could just see it as that fan just kicked in, and then you're like, okay, now you can see it just drop over where that you had the little hole.
Yeah.
And you could just see it drop to being what do you want it to
Well,
be?
we have a formula. Get into the technical here a bit, but that thermal stack effect that our houses do, we call that a resting pressure. So we actually take that measurement first, and then depending on the temperature outside, we have a modifier that says, so if it's a plus degree day, if we're measuring 1 Pascal of pressure difference between under your slab and in your basement, when I come back at -40, that number is going to be a lot bigger, because when it's cold out, that suction effect is a lot stronger.
Right.
So we just allow for that. Is basically, there's a formula that we follow. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the technical of it, but
no, but it's great. Like, I mean, it is cool to understand about it. I mean,
and I love explaining it to customers,
especially from my side of it. It's like, I mean, in today's market, I mean, you're not going to be able to do a radon test inspection and it come back, I think, in time and the rest. But you said it could be like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, so Health Canada does. So I'm a certified radon mitigator. So we are supposed to insist on the 3-month test before you determine to spend the money to mitigate your home, right? Because radon comes and goes in such huge swings that if you do that short-term measurement, you just don't know if you're at the peak of a swing or at the valley of a swing. So
it's like testing your blood if you've just drank in 10 coffees or a glass of water, or slept well, or just ate a chocolate bar. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different.
Well, I would say even more with radon, though, because if you do fall, so first of all, when we're measuring our exposure to radon, we're measuring our annual exposure. So the perfect measurement is 1 year long. That's why they recommend a minimum 3-month test before you determine to spend the money, because you could set your device up for 2 or 3 days, measure 300 or 400, and then for the rest of the year you're only at 40.
Right.
Do you need to mitigate your home? No, you don't.
But it's pretty reasonable. I mean, it was still like, I mean, it wasn't something that we didn't have to save up for, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking on your average, what does it cost to put that fan in?
I mean, every system's a little bit different. Between $2,000 to $4,000 is kind of the going rate sort of thing, depending on what we have to do. Lots of times we don't even need to put in a mitigation system if levels are low enough and the home is new enough or has when I say new enough, I just mean the HVAC equipment is newer.
Okay.
And so like there's an HRV in the home, for example, if it's, we find tons of HRVs that aren't balanced properly or not interlocked with the furnace. And so lots of the time, not lots of times, but sometimes if the levels are low enough, we can just tweak their HVAC equipment and make that work for them. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you're just kind of like when we're trying to go into it. If you don't need to spend the money, we can solve the problem with what you already have in place.
Well, we would. More or less.
Yeah.
There's some negative effects to using your HVAC equipment.
Probably overwork it. Yeah.
Well, so for sure, the extra usage, so filter changes are going up. The energy consumption from it, and if you're using your HRV to mitigate your home, an HRV is a natural dehumidifier. So
basically, throw that idea out the.
Well,
out the side.
I wouldn't say throw it out, because if you already have this set up and your levels are already fairly low, and if you have a digital monitor, so you're monitoring, whenever you make an adjustment on your equipment, you're going to see either a spike or a drop, and so you can some customers are happy being able to manage it that way.
Right.
Again, one of the negative side effects is if you're running your HRV, you're going to dry out your house. And that HRV has to run nonstop, right? So energy burden, dry out your house, in which case a humidifier will replace that humidity, but now you're just stacking equipment on top of each other to try and manage this thing, whereas a depressurization system will fix it.
So you've answered a lot of my questions that I had.
Sorry, lots of information.
No, don't. I mean, this is why we have you on, is to be able to provide this information to people, just because, I mean, I've learned a lot. Just, hiring you and then seeing the process and then understanding on it. What's the best way that we can do to, for people to, I think I mentioned it before, but I'll have it come from you. So if somebody wants to test their house, what's their first step?
So you can reach out to us directly. What we will probably just do is direct you to the Lung Sask.
Okay.
We just direct you to Lung Sask's website. Their website's homeradion.ca, I think.
You get a little box and
yeah, we also we're an affiliate of the Lung Association. You can also go to our website. It's the same price, basically.
Okay, yeah.
We don't get any money off it. It's the same price, basically.
Right.
And that's where we would get them to start. Now, we also do sometimes say, if you want quicker results, you can pick up a digital monitor, but run a long test. Don't set it up for a week and say, oh, my levels are high. Like, a week isn't long enough. The longer that thing runs, the more accurate it is.
Okay, so then once they get that back and they go, holy smokes.
Yeah, levels are high.
So I guess here's another thing. So I was at 200. They say you need to do it. I don't know how I came in exactly 200, but that's what my number came back at.
Well,
yeah.
You want to know how that works?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, when radon decays, it ejects out that alpha particle, right?
Yeah.
And so in that little pill bottle thing you got, inside of there is a little piece of suspended bulletproof glass.
Okay.
Okay. And when radon decays, it ejects out that particle, and it's such a strong force, it actually puts a pit into that glass. And so with your test kit, it sat there for 3 months. You mailed it back to the lab. They took that glass out, put it under a microscope, and physically count each pit. And then they extrapolate that by the time it's been deployed, and that's your becquerel reading. That's what a becquerel is. It's 1 decay in 1 meter cubed in 1 minute.
This is wild. So, no, this is great. Like, I would have never thought.
I know,
bulletproof glass, exploding.
Yeah, it's like it's a special. I call it might not be bulletproof glass. But
yeah,
something
but
like
bulletproof.
That.
It makes it sound way cooler.
Sounds better.
Yeah, it sounds way cooler. Exploding neutron? No, exploding.
Decaying alpha particles.
Alpha particles, right? Yeah. So, it's not funny because it was 200 that showed up. Yeah. What happens if it came in at 150? What's your thoughts on, or if that's at 100? Like, are you wanting to do it? Like, the last thing I want is lung cancer. So I don't want any cancer, but lung cancer.
Yep. So what I would say to 150 or 100, I would say, there's a lot of different things. The big one I would say is, do you have a workout station in your basement?
Yeah.
So if you do, I would want those levels as low as freaking possible, because if you are exercising in a high-ish radon environment, you're huffing and puffing, you're breathing, you're going down there for an hour a day or whatever, however long you might exercise for. You're putting yourself at a risk, unnecessary risk.
It's going to go to the gym and barely use my workout equipment, but at the same time, like now I'm thinking, what am I going to do with my workout equipment?
Yeah.
Like,
And I could bring up the workout thing because I did have a customer pass away last year who passed away because she was unaware of radon and never smoked, super healthy lady, always at the lake doing outdoor stuff. And then, she was doing everything right. And she went down and would exercise right near her floor drain in her basement. And in her basement, her levels are about 500. So that is high. It's not off the chart high, but it is high.
500.
500. Yeah. And in her case, though, what she had was the radon was coming through her weeping tile in her floor drain. And so what I'll do lots of times with a customer like that is just to prove the source, I'll set up my monitor right on their floor drain, usually read into the thousands, a couple thousand, just to prove that it's a source. Tell them don't get scared about that number because you don't live your life huffing and puffing over the floor drain. But that proves to us the source, and now we know how to fix this home. In her case, when we set that monitor up on her floor drain, my monitor read overload. I've never seen my monitor read overload before. My monitor reads up to 10,000 becquerels. So she had over 10,000 becquerel. And again, radon comes and goes in waves. So some days not so much, other days, yeah. But she had over 10,000 becquerels coming out of her floor drain. And for 20 years, she would go and exercise 5 feet from that damn floor drain. Yeah. And yeah, she contacted me with stage 4 lung cancer and passed away in May here. Yeah, sorry to...
No, I mean,
it's a warning, though. It really is.
The reason that you're here is because, I mean, first of all, we want to be able to educate the community.
Yeah, she was mad because she never heard of this. She never heard of radon, and
we're here because we don't want that happening
right.
to more people, right? And
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's horrible it happened to her, and it's horrible that it happened to a lot of other people without them actually knowing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I never really thought about my gym equipment being in my basement, right? Because usually it's in your basement. You don't usually put it up in your second floor, right? That's usually the case scenario for a lot of people. So, I mean, it makes me second guess my basement equipment, right?
But not your house is fixed. I wouldn't worry about it anymore.
So at 23
you're
or 55, you're okay. It's
no level of radon exposure is safe, but your levels are low.
Right.
So,
okay.
I mean, remember, outdoors about 5 to 10 becquerels.
And is there any way of being able to, I guess, if you've had radon or whatever else, like, I mean, you're not a doctor, but like, what do people do if they've had high radon in their houses for a long period of time?
I just say, well, you're doing something about it now.
Right. Yeah.
Not much else you can really say about that.
You can't really.
My first question with that is, so they have high levels in their home.
Right.
And they've been in their house for 30 years. Usually my first question is, when did you guys upgrade your windows and your doors?
Right.
Because that's typically when their exposure would have began. So you were asking earlier, we've never heard of radon before in the 80s or 90s or whatever. It's just because now we've gone through such a movement of making net zero energy loss and airtight homes as much as possible, right? It's because of that. Mechanical ventilation code hasn't kept up with that movement. And because of that, radon can accumulate to unsafe levels. That's what's happening. Yeah, that's why it's so prevalent now and getting bigger, because our homes are so airtight,
Is it only older homes, or is it any home?
No, any home.
So even if you have a new home,
The new homes are worse.
The new homes can be worse, except for the HVAC equipment will be upgraded, or newish. So you can use an HRV to help ventilate. Older homes, the thing that there may have been less or no radon for older homes is because the windows and doors and insulation was so poor that you're getting natural infiltration. So as brutal as it was on your energy bill walking past those leaky windows, you're still getting air exchanges happening, right? Whereas now,
like your older windows help.
Yeah, they did, because you're getting an air exchange. You're getting fresh air come in and dilute the radon that's already in there. But now that we've sealed up our envelopes and made, we're so proud of making our home so airtight, because of that, it's accumulating. Yeah.
So you're meeting tomorrow with this group of people?
Take Action on Radon meeting. It's a group of mitigators, the lung association, or I keep calling them Lung Saskatchewan.
Right, because that was their old name,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, Lung Saskatchewan. Health Canada representative will be there. Some of the radon crew. We all
Right.
kind of know each
You
other.
guys are a team.
That's right.
So what would you like come out of that meeting?
Well, the big one that I think it comes out of every meeting is just trying to push the education to everybody. Carrie and there's Christine, they did a great job over the years. I don't know if you heard of the Tackle Radon campaign.
I mean, the only reason you're here today is because I saw Carrie spreading
Right.
some stuff and then thinking
she's a rock star for
and
sure.
then thinking, so Carrie Tugger, she's with Century 21. I'm not sure how long she's been in this. Should be a long time. I've known her for a long time.
Okay.
She's a good person. And I think that she found lung cancer, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she never smoked, super healthy lady. Ended up getting. I'd rather her tell her story, but
for sure, But either way, she is an advocate. She's being the one that's spreading. The reason you're here today is because I heard her tell her story a bit,
right.
And also realizing that this is something that needs to be shared with more people, and more people should be testing.
Yeah.
And it's just something that should be a common conversation, I think, when people are buying and selling a house. In today's market, it's a little bit hard because, it's a crazy market and inspections and so forth are very hard to come by just because you want to win out on that property. But just realizing that maybe building that budget into whatever property that you buy, that $2,000 to $4,000, just keeping in mind that, first of all, test $80 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 60 bucks.
Something like that, plus taxes.
Digital monitors are like 150 and up to 500.
Yeah.
But,
So it's just it's just doing your due diligence just to protect yourself and your family, right?
Yep, 100%.
And so I think that if everybody was doing it, we'd really suggest to all of our clients, we'll send out something to our clients, probably with clips of this interview, just suggesting that they go about looking at this and so forth, right?
Yeah, at least be aware of it at a minimum. And if you don't care, then you don't care. But if you don't care,
it's a little bit,
Yeah, if you do care, though, test your house. We live in a hot zone,
right?
In this part of the world.
Here's the crazy thing: uranium is a huge source for energy and the rest of it in the world, and we're lucky to have it. But at the same time, I guess it can hurt us if it's with the gas that's coming through our basements, right?
That's right.
So I know that you were talking a little bit about having there's a radon trap in the newer houses sometimes, but it's usually not in the middle of the house.
Yeah, so
it's usually just in the utility because it's easier to put it there, I think, right? Or no?
So that radon rough, and so ever since 2014, building code says, so rather than us coming to your house and core a hole and dig our pit and do our section, we should be able to tie onto a radon rough-in after 2014.
Okay.
And just tie right onto that. Unfortunately, what we find is more than 9 times out of 10, that rough-in doesn't work for us.
Right.
Either when we do our communication testing, it fails so poorly that we get nothing, or it says that we need a really large fan, and then we'll core our own hole right next to that rough-in, dig our own pit, and get the customer down to the very smallest fan.
Yeah, they're all caring about just putting a pipe in the ground and calling it.
Or it comes up at, under the stairs next to the sump pit. Like, how do you pipe from there to the outside?
Okay,
nicely, So when we can just core our own hole. So that building code is changing, though. Actually, they're changing that.
Yeah, you've been talking with some people on that. When's that building code, do you think, going to change?
I think the new building code is already out, but Saskatchewan will adopt it probably next year, I think, or the year after, maybe, something like that. And that's going to involve, rather than having that radon rough in there, they're going to be doing a passive stack. So a stack right from the furnace room all the way up to the roof. And then so because of that pipe there, it's going to help relieve a little bit of the pressure under the slab.
So it doesn't even need a fan then, basically?
Well, it'll help. It'll help. And because, again, with that pipe on the top and the wind's blowing over it, it's going to help create a bit of a draw also.
Okay, yeah.
And if the house does test high, now we can just come in and chop a fan into that stack rather than have to go through the whole installation process, I guess.
For sure.
Still have to size the fan properly.
So I appreciate you coming on today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the people watching, or how they can find you, or anything?
Ventpro Mechanical. You can search us out. We got a pretty good Google presence. Check out our Google reviews. that's what you're looking for. But
Yeah.
I mean, the main message is just test your house. Everybody should test. Be aware of it and test your home, especially if you're working out in the basement.
Right.
Especially.
You did a great job on mine. I can give you a testimonial on that. I mean, I was again, I'm pretty particular the way I like things done, and I came into it and I was super impressed how professional it was and how
good.
clean it was, and the guys that you had there, Ty, and just explaining it. It was I thought it was perfect, right? And I appreciate you doing that for me. So thanks for joining us. We'll probably be sending something out to our clients about radon gas. We'll be able to probably tag in, you said Lungsask? Lungsask.
Keep pulling it on,
Onto maybe some of these. Maybe they'd like to share this as well too. But even just tagging them onto it so that people can find them, just because I think that this is something that we all need to think about. So appreciate you taking the time coming on today. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.